Welcome back, everybody, to our triumphant return to making RT Talks again. As you can see, I have changed my lighting a little bit, but we do have some plans to improve the video quality as well. But we are here. We are off of our hiatus, I guess, officially now, because we've done Out in the Grapes and we've done this podcast. So you'll probably already notice a few editing changes that are going on if you've been watching the last couple episodes, and that'll continue throughout this whole thing. So this week, this episode, we don't necessarily have one giant topic that I think would be like the dominant thing. So we kind of have everything. We have a few topics that are around the same level of sort of interest and discussion. So on today's episode, we'll be talking about the fact that Kai is now officially a part of Achievement Hunter. We'll talk about the new show that was announced for Rooster Teeth that's coming out fairly soon. We'll talk about some positive news regarding Rooster Teeth's YouTube channel. We'll talk about a little teaser of a Ray crossover that could, or I don't know if it's a crossover, but a reunion, I guess. Then we will talk about a crossover with Rick and Morty very briefly. And then we'll just wrap it up with just some Peter Hayes news, I guess. But yeah, first things first. Like I said, we have the what I think a lot of us already knew was coming, and has already, I think even in Jeremy's announcement or in his replies and stuff, if I remember correctly, because that was like a month ago now, he said about how he wanted to, or he was going to be like a contract kind of part-time person, along the lines of, I think, like Kai, Iffy, and Gavin, I think is the examples he used. So this is not necessarily like groundbreaking, I can't believe it news, but there was an official announcement, and the tweet was from the Achievement Hunter account. We're so excited to announce that Defined by Kai, which is her Twitter handle, is joining the extended AH family. You'll be seeing her around in a lot more videos and projects over time. Please send her all the love. So far, she has definitely been in I'm not going to say she has been in like a ton of stuff, but she's been in significantly more than previously. But I still think this is a very positive thing. And
well, I mean, I think everyone saw it coming, like you already said.
Yeah. Well, it's positive. I'm saying, like, in terms of, I guess, more so how she fits. Like, I like her in videos, and she's definitely, like, especially as we've talked about on here before, it's like I know her, or like saw her first in Alfredo's streams. So it's like, that's how I was kind of introduced to her, and then her and Alfredo always have like a rapport where they're, which is kind of his rapport with a lot of people, but he's really there to make her life miserable. But she definitely has like that, what I'll call like content mode, where she'll do things for the sake of like the joke, or just like, she's not just like out there trying to win every game. Like, she does things that are just goofy for the sake of, for the video, basically. But so far, all I've seen from like her posts and everything are her being excited, and then there's a lot of people, or her included, but there's people that are mentioning, like people who know her, talking about how she's been a fan for a long time, and how like, I think even just whenever I was getting everything pulled up for doing this episode, it was, I don't know if it was her, I don't know if she has a brother, but it was someone saying like, we like such and such years ago, we were planning a trip to RTX, and fast forward whatever the amount of time was, and now Kai is a part of RTX, like, is a crazy thing. So I think it's nice. Like, I think there's something, and maybe it's just being a fan for a long time, but I think there's something that feels, I don't know, it almost feels better when someone joined who is like, has been a fan for a long time, and it's like, I don't know, it's like one of us got a chance and is up there, and it's happened a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people, obviously, but
yeah, I mean, it's a way better feeling than just like a stranger or somebody who has no idea what the company really does. It's like, oh, this person actually gets it and wants to fit in, and is just happy to be there doing anything.
Yeah, and there's people obviously that worked out too that weren't necessarily a fan of it. Like, I'm not sure how aware Alfredo was of, I shouldn't say aware, but like, I'm not sure how like big of a fan he was going into it, and Alfredo's now one of my favorite personalities, like, across the board. If anyone has watched the I don't even know if I have to be specific, because I think if I just say the let's roll that they did, Alfredo had one of the funniest moments in a long time. Or I should say one of the funniest moments in a long time, but it made me laugh incredibly hard. Like, I actually, like, I rewound it because Renee missed the part, and I had to show her. And if you haven't seen it, I don't even want to hint at what it is, but you'll know it when you see it. But it's still, he's like one of my favorite personalities they have now. But still, it's there's like that little extra whenever it's someone who has been a fan and is very familiar with everything. And it's like, which is why I think she slots in so easily for me, is that it's like she knows what is expected. Like, she knows what they do. She knows their personalities. It's just, I'm in. She just hits the ground running. So,
Right.
Definitely, I'm a fan of this. And no, like, I mean, like we've already mentioned, yeah, we saw it coming, but now that it's like, it has an official, stamp on it, a seal of approval, it's nice to see. And I approve of the choice of bringing her in. But like I said, we don't really have big topics, so and that's one of the things I want to do for the show too, is kind of speed things up a little bit, because I mean, there's some subjects like how much can you say, and we'll get lost in the weeds a lot of times. So we're gonna move on to the next subject, which is the new show which Rashith announced, which is, I think, the most excited I've been for a new show since Haunter, I think, whenever they announced that, because I think it was the first time I heard about it was at an RTX panel for Haunter, and I think it was like Jeff just talking about, and we're putting a show together where we go and we try to find ghosts, and I was like, that is so ridiculous, and I was like, I'm immediately on board. And well, no, I guess I was really excited for Last Laugh too, but Last Laugh turned out to be something different than what I was expecting whenever I heard the announcement of it. But so their new show will be coming out. It was in the trailer. I didn't realize that I didn't have that date pulled up, but I know it was. I wanted to say it was like towards the beginning of July, I believe. I'll find it while I'm talking here, but it's called Camp Betrayal, and it is it's effectively a reality show. I mean, it's and I think I never watched the show, but I think it's very similar to the show The Mole. Do you remember that show, or remember hearing about it?
I remember the title, but I don't know anything about it besides that I assume there's a spy.
Well, yeah. So it says it premieres 7/13, so it's July 13th for anyone who doesn't know their months. But yeah, it's the description for it. For the Camp Betrayal, for Rashith's show, is 9 contestants compete for their lives by completing challenges for their evil host, the Babadour. So it's Eric Bador. And he's dressed like he's dressed like Sting, honestly, with a top hat. He kind of looks like a voodoo master. As each episode, contestants are randomly chosen to lie, backstab, and sabotage the team's chance at success, but can they keep their role a secret? So, and much like I said, what I understood or think I understand about The Mole was that it's kind of the same, where one of them is there to mess everything up for everyone else, and they have to figure out who it is, and then they have to I think they just get voted out. I think everyone takes a vote and then tries to kick them out. So there's just a short trailer. I think it was like a minute and a half or something like that. Obviously, once it comes out, we'll have more idea of how the entire game's gonna work. But just seeing it, it's it looks like it's like a summer camp, so it's very almost like Friday the 13th vibes to it. I mean, it's one of them's not a killer, but I mean, in a way, in some metaphorical sense, it's kind of like one of them's a killer because they're there to kind of ruin and get someone else taken out.
Right. Saboteur.
Yeah, but it's I think there's a couple things for me beyond just it being beyond it just being like a new show or a kind of premise that I'm interested in. I think it's also nice too because it's the first show. I mean, Dead Little Roosters, it was a live action show and people were together, but they were really apart. I mean, everyone was in their own rooms and everything, and it was very sectioned off, just because that, obviously that's how it had to be. But this is they're all together, they're all competing these tasks, and it's now it's this feels like we're back. Like, it feels like this is the first thing, even though, like, they've done some in-person stuff, there's something about seeing a full production they've done together. It's like, oh, this is kind of like, oh, like when they had Hardcore Mini Golf coming out and they had all these ideas and all this stuff was rolling. It's like, oh, we're back to that happening where they're making these shows again and people are going to be together. And it's like, I am immediately excited. So, it's only, I think actually the next time we do an episode for this, that should be about the time this comes out. So I guess it won't be on the next episode where we'll be talking about it. It'll be the one after that for RT Talk. But rest assured, whenever it does come out, I know I'll absolutely be watching it. And
the next one will be on the 9th.
Yeah.
So it'll actually be before that.
That's what I'm saying. It won't be out by the time we have the next episode. So it'll be the episode after that one where I'll be talking about kind of like, I guess, just impressions or how I'm enjoying it, I guess. But it's nice to see things kind of returning to a normal, and like I said, actually seeing the ball rolling again on productions. Do you watch any reality shows? Like, does that have any appeal to you?
I don't. I mean, Nailed It was like the last thing I watched.
What's Nailed It?
Like it's just like people who are terrible at baking on a baking show.
Oh,
on
okay.
Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen the preview for it. When you said Nailed It, I had no image in my head. I just had like my imagination just saw the two words Nailed It, and I was like, I don't have any inkling as to what that is.
No, I don't watch a whole lot of reality shows. I don't know.
You mean you didn't start watching The Circle after I was talking about it on Out in the Grapes?
No.
That disappoints me. I wanted you to be trash like me.
Well, maybe one day I'll be on The Circle.
Oh my god! Do you have any idea how much I would watch that if you were on there?
I'd be a terrible liar, though.
I think you'd be tremendous. You could pull it off. But outside of Doug being on The Circle, coming soon, beyond Camp Betrayal, when I said like there's some positive news surrounding the RT YouTube channel, there's a post on the subreddit, and I don't know enough about how to really interpret these like numbers and everything to say whether or not this is true or false. But the post was that for the first time in, I forget what the time frame was, like maybe even a year, that the RT YouTube channel had gained subscribers. Now, the reason I say I don't know how to read the data on this is that when you go back to a certain date, you can actually see like, oh, they gained 285 subscribers this day. Oh, they gained 100. They lost it or whatever. Like it was like a graph, like any other graph would be. But then, because this is all, and it'll be on screen right now. So, but for people listening, this is all from the site Social Blade, which is, I mean, they're basically a site that like breaks down statistics for like YouTube channels. Like even our channel showed up on here. We were looking at it. I said we are on course to make maybe $20 this year from the YouTube channel. So here's hoping.
No ads.
Yeah, somehow. But Social Blade just breaks down data and just numbers, and then you can go in and get like an idea of how things were, like I guess things are going or whatever. I see it used a lot especially for like the YouTube channels like that talk about like YouTube drama. Like after someone gets in trouble, they always go to Social Blade, and you'll see, oh, they're losing like 10,000 plus subscribers every single day or whatever. And it's like it's a source that people use quite often that I see. But the only reason that I'm not sure how to really interpret this, like, for what people will be seeing on screen right now, is that there is a line graph, and then underneath there is just, I mean, I don't know, 15 spikes that just go straight down. Like there's just like 15 triangles down. But when I mouse over them, it just says negative 10,000, and then for like it says like between June 19th and June 25th, it says negative 10,000. But then the next one over is June 26th to July 2nd of 2020. It says 0. But then the next, like, you go over, and then it says between the next set of dates is 0. Then it's negative 10,000. So it's like, for all of, like, last year, it was either they gained 0 subscribers or just lost 10,000 at a time. And I was like, that just I don't understand how that's a lot. But
people.
And what I assumed was happening too, because like you can see it on a lot of people's channels where like YouTube does purges of fake accounts, and then those a lot of times will come out. Like I don't know what the time frame is, but you'll see that a lot for everyone's channel, where all of a sudden they'll just lose like this big cluster of subscribers. So it's like I don't know if that's part of it, because to be evenly 10,000 every single time seems very strange. But then to also be 0 for over a year, it's like you'd think if they were losing them, it would just be a graph it's going downhill to the point where it's like, oh, they lost this many today, that many today, and then they'll have days where they're a little bit positive. But then the day that like what they're kind of like referring to, saying that they gain subscribers, it just says plus 10,000. So it's like this 10,000 number just keeps coming up over and over again. So I was like, I'm kind of just chalking it up is to maybe my lack of understanding of all the YouTube data and or how maybe Social Blade interprets the data. Because even if I go back further, like beyond where these little 10,000 drop spikes are or the zeros are, it is the up and down, and you can see, or like on the Let's Play channel, it's like you can go on and actually see where like their total subscribers are. But the fact that it went up for one is a positive thing, but more so than that, what I kind of, when I was looking at this, what I saw was highlighting is that over the last 30 days, the YouTube channel for Rooster Teeth has seen a 60% increase in views, which I was like, that's pretty significant. And on the subreddit post of that, where they were talking about this being, for the first time they gained subscribers, people were saying it may be due to the fact that they've been doing a lot of TikTok stuff, and that apparently they've had a couple of videos that like went viral on TikTok. So I think I've seen a couple of the videos like that were posted, like they post them like on Instagram and stuff, and I think it's all like the Squad Team Force crew, which is still a weird thing to try to stumble out there to put that together. Still feels like it's like a Voltron or like Power Rangers ripoff, which I think is what they're going for, but still, I'm not used to calling them that. But I think it's like mainly like that group who's been making TikToks, and apparently a couple of them have done well. I'm not on TikTok. I overhear TikTok a lot from Renee.
While you guys are watching TV, you hear nonsense.
Nonsense, and the same like 10 songs play over and over again, because that TikTok loves that stuff. But I mean, it would make sense. It would make sense that like the platform that is kind of the hottest right now, being TikTok, they have videos that they're going, or like I don't know if they went viral or if they're continuing to climb or anything, but it would make sense that those people, a fraction of them, would come over and would start seeing some of their videos. So anyway, it's some of the like most positive news to come out of the Rooster Teeth YouTube channel. But I will say though, just out of fairness, like it is sort of a right now is the anomaly, like it's the exception. So it's more so I think it'll be more of a story if we see it continue to on that path. So you see like the views continuing to go up, or it'll at least stay the same too. Like if next or over the next 30 days, if they climb maybe like 10% or something like that, it's like, okay, well, you still maintained that 60% jump, so you held that jump up, and now you went up even more from there. So like I think that'll be more of a story. And then if the increase in subscribers, if you see that continue as well, so we'll see what happens. I still really believe that them being back in the office is, and like once as they're doing more and more stuff like in person, I think that's going to lead to better content, and I think that'll lead to them actually some of the views going back up. I don't know if they'll return to their former glory, but we'll see if they can get that back up there.
All they can do is try.
That's all they can do. I know there's a lot of channels, like a lot of the channels underneath Rooster Teeth in general have been hurting, and like I just went through and was looking at Funhouse's videos, because I haven't watched a Funhouse video in such a long time, and I was looking through and I was like, oh, yeah, their videos have definitely taken a hit too, like in terms of views. So it's like the views across, like Achievement Hunter seem to, like they haven't maintained, like I think they were getting, Well, I guess it depends on what the video was, but I mean, for them to get a video under 100,000 was not something that happened common, like that was that common, and I would say the same would be, or I think Funhouse. I'm going from memory, so this may be way off, but Funhouse I think are basically about the same. But if I would go and pull up right now, I was scrolling through and I don't know if maybe it's improved since I looked, because it was maybe a week or two ago where I was just going through and just seeing what videos they posted and like what just some of the stuff they had going on. But like if I'm just going through the Funhouse videos right now, their most recent video was only about for 9 hours, but it's 26,000 views. The one from yesterday has 12,000 views, which was a podcast, so podcasts kind of vary, and a lot. I think a lot of times tend to be lower. The one from 2 days ago has 57,000, then it's 19, 56, 53, 58, 56, 18, 60, 25. It's like those were they were consistently, I would say they had a minimum of like 150,000 views per video. So it's like they have certainly taken a hit too. And I don't know if that's just, when we talked about the fact that Rooster Teeth lost so much talent. I mean, Funhouse they got gutted. Like,
yeah, who's left? Like the original people, who's left?
James, of the original. Right. Well, James, I think Matt Peake's still there too.
But I mean, like they went from the solid core, and then
and now they have all like the. I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't watched Funhouse in a long time, because it's like all pretty quickly, all of a sudden, it was an entirely new group of people. And I was like, I don't even know who any of them are. And it took me a while after Funhouse joined Rooster Teeth to even kind of explore their content. So it's like, it's not something I'm saying like I'm opposed to or I will never actually watch, but it's just I guess I just haven't gone down that road of like trying to see like the, in quotes, like new personalities of Funhouse. And it makes, like, when we talked about them doing the rebrand, like, it makes a lot more sense when you really think about the fact that just so many of the original people who made that hard orange and black Funhouse logo are no longer there. But yeah, so we definitely have some changes, and obviously the hope is that once everything is back to normal and people are in the offices and they can continue to make new shows, because I think a lot of the pandemic has been just sustaining. It's just make the shows we know, make the shows that like work. We can't like get together, so you're really limited in trying to make a new thing. And even when you do, you're incredibly limited in what the scope of it can be, because you're doing it over like a video chat or anything else. So it's definitely been something and I think it's something that people don't like keep in mind when they start doom and glooming the company. It's like, I mean, if you're saying that like everything is going to shit and look how bad the channels are doing, it's like, look, you could be right, you could be spot on that things are going really, really bad, but also you have to take in consideration what's happening in the world and the limitations of what are going on and how quickly everyone had to adapt. So it's like, I'll have more well, like, or maybe not well, but like a more accurate, I guess, opinion of what's going on like at Rooster Teeth when things are back to, in quotes, normal, and they're like making content like they used to. And then I think that'll be a much better gauge as to how like bad things are there, because it's been a tough year, especially if you're making content and you can't even be in the same room as anybody else. So we shall see. But just real quickly before we kind of end here, Rooster Teeth did a Rick and Morty crossover, which I think it's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty clear this is kind of like the Batman one that they did. It's just, I don't know, is Rick and Morty still a Cartoon Network show? I never watched it.
It's on Adult Swim. It's like an adult, like on HBO Max, it's under the Adult Swim tab.
Oh, okay. So HBO Max, no, it makes sense, because HBO Max is owned by Warner, and so are they. So
yeah,
it's another crossover they're doing. I was taken completely off guard that that they were doing this, and it kind of, for me, it like came out of nowhere. But as always, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that they're doing like this crossover thing. I was not anticipating the fact that I'm not gonna call it backlash, because to me, I feel like there has to be a ton of people that are really upset by it. But just reading through the replies to the tweet where they were announcing it, which is maybe only, I'll say at most maybe 25 tweets, and maybe not even that many. A lot of them were like kind of negative and talking about AT&T and kind of like forcing them into these crossover things, and it's like they keep saying corporate big daddy or corporate daddy, or it's like people are just.
But why wouldn't you want like one of your either favorites or old favorites to cross over with Rick and Morty, which is like one of the biggest like adult cartoons on right now?
I would think. I mean, I kind of understand, especially because it's something we've talked about a lot, like how much things have changed. But I would guess that like people really, especially now, really don't like big corporations or like big businesses. And I think there's a lot of people who, anytime Rooster Teeth does anything that they don't like or that they feel like is like possibly because of like Warner Media, AT&T, whoever you want to blame it on, anything that even has like the stink of that, they immediately go to that angle and think this is just the influence of this, this larger corporation just trying to like bleed people for money, which is not what Rooster Teeth used to be when I started watching them or whatever.
Right.
And I mean, it's definitely true. Like there is things that it's like, I mean, we talked about like whenever the announcement of the sale went up, it's like, it's like if they went back to being like an independent company, which I wouldn't categorize that as likely, or at least not for me. I feel like that they'll probably want to continue that cash flow from having a larger entity, who can fund these bigger projects. But like, I do kind of miss the days of them being like this independent company where everything felt a lot more like personal and everything felt closer. And now, it's really weird because like one of the first episodes we did, I remember talking about saying like what's going to happen when like the original people have left and like when Rooster Teeth is just a company and not like the people. And now that it is that, it's like I understand this sort of nostalgia for those days and sort of, basically the disdain for the reason that it's not around, which is this bigger company. Not to mention people blame like Warner Media and stuff for certain personalities not being there, or like, oh, because there's people like where I say like, I don't know, so I'm not going to make a claim that the reason why, Ashley Jenkins isn't there anymore is because Warner Media said you have to cut her. Like I have no idea. I'm not in those meetings. It's obviously there's a lot of weirdness in that time frame, and there's a lot of evidence that points in like certain directions. But until I know for like I can point to something that would like prove that, I'm not comfortable in making that jump to say definitely Warner Media is the reason why Ellie Main doesn't work there anymore, or just name whoever it is. But there's people who are. They're very willing to make that jump. they just get the feeling, and then they'll take the dive. So, I can understand why people, when they see stuff like that, it's just a reminder of this aspect that they really don't like about Rooster Teeth anymore. And it's kind of like there's certain comments where they say like another cash grab or something along those lines with some of the replies. But like I said, I'm not going to label this as like backlash because there are so few replies and not all of them were negative either. So it's like, but I was just not expecting. I thought people would be more excited because people love Rick and Morty, and then like the first like I don't know 5 or 6 that were on the replies were just people talking about, oh, like another AT&T decision coming over forcing all their content together or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't realize this was gonna be an issue, but I guess that certain people have an opinion. But like I said, if you come out and say you like milk, people will have anger about it. And they'll yell at you online. So there is no winning anything you ever say or do in the internet space. When exposed to everybody, will have someone saying something real dicky to you. But real quick, move on to the Ray reunion possibility. I don't know what will come out of it, but there was when was this dated? June 7th. So this was actually a while ago. But Ray posted an image from the new Olympic Games video game. So it says available June 22nd. And he tweeted at Achievement Hunter, or Achievement Hunt on Twitter, "You lads busy in 2 weeks?" Because if anyone remembers, back in the early Let's Play days, they played those like old shitty Olympic games. And it's where like the Mark Nutt came from and everything. And there was it's like a kind of like I don't want to say a cult classic, but I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, again, people have a lot of nostalgia for. Achievement Hunter replied with this exactly the same, the 2 eye emojis looking off to the side.
Yeah.
And then Ray said, "It's been about 9 years since the last one. It's time Mark Nutt made his triumphant return. Let's make this happen." So, again, who knows what will happen? I'm still wondering if, like we talked about a while ago, like a possible like theory that they might do a crossover, because Ray was saying how he wanted to like collab with other streamers and everything, and I was like, well, Achievement Hunter's been, and Rooster Teeth in general has been streaming a lot more. I hope my light didn't just show all the spit I just spit all over my face. Just gets stuck to my face. I think my light may have revealed that. But I was like, Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter have been streaming a lot more, so I was like, there's a very easy kind of connection to make there, and I was hoping for that reunion. But again, this is maybe not a step in that direction, but it is another, I guess, a step in the direction of getting Ray back in the mix, at least, for a video. He's not going to be back in the office or anything, which should make people pretty happy, because as we've seen from our comments, Rooster Teeth has really gone downhill since Ray left. It's just a very dominant opinion that pops up still. And when Ray was off topic, I loved it. It was a very good time. And then the last thing is something I want to put in here about Peter Hayes, just because I didn't even know this, but Peter Hayes is he's like the GIF master. So anytime there's like a moment that happens in a video or podcast, he makes a GIF out of it pretty quickly, and then he gets it up, and then it went out, and he's done it so much that like from what I like, at least this is how I think it happened. He did it so much, and eventually he started to work like for Rooster Teeth. I think he was kind of like a maybe Jordan Swears kind of thing, making animated adventures. It sort of just transitioned that way, but I could be 100% wrong on that. But the point is, he does make GIFs for Rooster Teeth, I'm sure, among many other things. But apparently his Twitter account got banned, and people were making subreddit posts about like what happened. Like, did he do something? Like, is he delete his account, or like what's going on? And he replied in the subreddit, said, he put, "Hey y'all, so yeah, got suspended. One too many DMCAs over the years. I put in an appeal, but that'll take months and might not get me anywhere. And as you posted," and then the user who made this post, I do have other accounts that I'll move to. Rest in peace, the 12 years of tweets, I guess." So basically, he just made GIFs of things that apparently other companies made claims on, and then he had to take them down. So, wow. And it just happened too many times. Or I'm assuming it was I don't know if that was a GIF necessarily, but just knowing his special sauce, I'm assuming it was probably from GIFs. But that's going to wrap this one up. Much more condensed episode. Hopefully it made it better, that we kind of just moved along to the topics and it wasn't as long-winded, because I can talk a lot about absolutely nothing and no one cares. So I bore people who love me dearly. So I understand that maybe making this shorter and faster makes a lot of sense. But hopefully you enjoyed the new condensed format, and maybe the videos were edited not a little better, because I basically just put things on screen. I didn't really do much before. But hopefully you enjoyed the new kind of style we're going for. And like I said, we have some other maybe small changes. I would like to improve our camera quality, just not immensely. We don't need to shoot in like 8K, but just more so than just the webcam. I think having my light in this position is better than it was when it was like on my desk over here. So small changes, and then hopefully it just will kind of add up to making, I don't know, a bigger impact, I guess. But that's it. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you for waiting through our small hiatus and joining us again here today. So check check back for Out in the Grapes on Wednesday, and we'll see you on July, what was it, 9th? Is that what you said?
9th, yeah.
See you on July 9th. Goodbye. I saw Doug's palm.